Hi, Becca C. Smith here, and today I'm actually going to be doing a writing vlog. One of the things I wanted to talk about today is I had another revelation, which was awesome, but also, and I'm sure a lot of you can relate, really, I want to say upsetting. Basically what happened was that I had already written the first three or four chapters actually. So I had a total of about, I guess, 12,000 words. Each chapter is about 3,000 to 4,000 words long. So I had, about 12,000 words written, and I was happy with them. And then, I was on the fourth chapter, and I don't know if this has ever happened to you guys before, but my character started speaking to me through the chapter, basically telling me that there's no way I would do any of the things you're making me do. This character, Ella, comes from a family of, her parents were grifters, and so she was pretty much neglected her whole life, which is a form of abuse. It just, they only needed her when they were doing a grift and things like that. But it also, being a strong-willed girl, she kind of knew right from wrong, which is why she ended up being, why she's a cop currently in the novel. As a result, she's very distrustful of people. I mean, if you can't trust your own parents, who can you trust? And I had it in the second, third, and fourth chapter where, because it's a different world, it's like an urban fantasy, so it's definitely very different. So it's definitely fantasy, and so there's this group of people that she's never met before, and they're basically like, in that moment in chapter 2, almost like her saviors, because she was born with something that made her different, essentially. I can't give too much away, I know, I'm terrible, but anyway, she was born with something different about her, and that is dangerous, and that people hunt people like her down and kill them. So this group of people are the people that, they're basically like, no, we want to use your gifts. We are, they're part of the government, and like, we try to find you before the others find you, so that, you're safe and that you can be protected. And it's true. I know it's true. The audience doesn't know it's true. And my character certainly doesn't know that that's true. And why would she think that it was true? So she's in chapter 4 in the van that she's willingly gone into with these people, and all of a sudden all these thoughts are going through her head of, why am I in this van? And who are these people? And I just met them. And how do I know they're not leading me to some place where they're going to murder me? And how do I know that they're not the actual people that hunt people like me? And why did I just walk into a van? Like, I'm a cop. Like, and at that point, I stopped. And I was like, she's right. She would never get into that van. She'd never trust them. She'd never stick around the crime scene. Once she knew that she was discovered for who she was, she'd run. She'd have to. There would be no other choice. So I had to delete almost 9,000 words. And it was painful. I mean, I didn't delete them. I put them in an old chapter file and kept them away from things, just in case I can pull things later on from the stuff that I liked. But basically, I deleted 9,000 words. And yes, my story is going to be a gajillion times better for it. My character is so happy now. She's like, thank you. But I had to delete 9,000 words. So I was on chapter 4, almost on chapter 5. I am now on just starting chapter 2. So it was a setback. It was a good setback, but it doesn't change the fact that it was painful and discouraging. It's weird. It was like inspiring and discouraging all at once. So I'm sure a lot of you can relate and have had to do this, and I'm sure it was just as painful for you as it was for me. And weirdly, like I said, just as exciting, because you know your story's going in the right direction now. Like, it feels right. The character is happy. I am happy. It feels more realistic. It just works. So it did take me a few days to kind of I don't know, adjust or percolate, or I don't know, just kind of recover and build excitement for myself to start writing again. So that's what I'm going to do today. This was kind of a talky, but also going to be a writing vlog. So I'm scared of any more revelations I may have, especially if they require me to delete things again. But I don't think so. I did have to rework the chapter 1, and that's kind of what, in terms of writing, that's what I've been doing. Is I had to, the way that I had it set up was that she was just gonna, boom, we're chapter 2, she meets these people, la la la, yay, they're my saviors. And no. And I've actually changed that a little bit too. Like, they were legitimately in my head good people and right people. And for, you know, I don't want to give too much away, but there's always a darker side to things. So I came up with a few revelations on that as well. So I'm excited. So that's what I'm going to do today. I am going to start writing and working on starting with chapter 2 and seeing where it takes me. Now everything's outlined, but the plot is outlined. The character development, essentially the internal story and arcs are outlined-ish, but not really. And I think that's why I kind of ran into that problem. Usually I outline everything, from the character arcs to the story arcs to the plot, or everything. But this time I just did the plot. And as a result, this is what happens. So this is one of the reasons why I usually am a planner rather than a pantster. But I'm doing it anyway. It's sort of an experiment. It's kind of a planster way of doing things. And even though I had to get rid of those words, it's really making me want to plot everything out. But something weirdly is holding me back from it, which is strange because that's never happened to me before. I usually give in to those impulses and just plan, but right now it weirdly feels like a procrastination, and I don't know why, because it isn't. Planning and outlining is not procrastination to me. It is, you know, really important research and work. But for some reason I just, it doesn't, with this book in particular, I feel like it is outlined enough. I've got every single thing that I need for the plot, but I do feel like I need to learn with these characters, get to know these characters as I go. Because even though I had to delete those 9,000 words, I have such a better grasp of who my character is. And I don't think I would get that in an outline for this particular character. And maybe it's because her background is so different from mine, because, you know, I really lucked out in the parent department. I have super supportive, encouraging, amazing parents that are still my biggest cheerleaders. And I know that is not something that a lot of people have. And I have a lot of friends that do not have that. And that's kind of where I'm pulling from in terms of this character, Ella, is from their backgrounds. Hearing and trying to put myself in their shoes of how that would feel to have the two people that you love the most, that you're supposed to love the most growing up, not only just don't believe in you, but just don't really care much. They're just really into their own lives, I guess, sort of narcissists in that way. I can take all that information that I know from my friends and the people that I know personally that grew up that way, but really me writing a character with that background, I kind of feel like I need to experience it. And if I have to delete it and change it again, then so be it. I think the book will be better for it. I don't think that type of character, because my experience doesn't match up with it, I don't think that type of character should be mapped out, because I think it would feel contrived and forced coming from me, who hasn't had that personal experience. So that's why I'm doing it. I hope that makes sense. And let me know in the comments if you guys have gone through something similar, if you're writing a character that is very opposite of you in the sense of how you were raised and who you are and your life experiences, and how that affects how you write them, because that's fascinating to me. And for me, it's just kind of going a little pantstery on the characters, but still plannery on the plot. I have no idea how this is going to be, but this is the one book that I am going to be asking for beta readers on AuthorTube, so you'll be able to tell me if it worked or not. But I did come up with a title, which is very exciting because, as you know, if you watch my previous videos, the title I had was just so awful. I didn't want to put it out in the universe and tell you what it was. But I did come up with a title yesterday, and it's kind of another word for Earth, or this particular Earth, this particular, I don't want to say dimension, what is it, timeline? I don't know. Anyway, it's called Hexsphere, which I thought was kind of cool, because hex, it's like spells, but sphere, it's like Earth, so Hexsphere. So it's going to be called the Hexsphere Chronicles. So I'm excited. So yes, it has spells and things like that in it as well. If you like that kind of thing, then this, hopefully you'll want a beta and tell me if you like it. Okay, I'm not gonna pitch it anymore because I haven't figured out my pitch yet. I'm just gonna write it first. So here I go. Finished my first sprint. I did some good work. I actually got some backstory about her parents down, the grifters I was talking about, and I think it'll be really pivotal. And I think it'll be really pivotal in how she treats others in the way that she is a cop and how she proceeds forward in this book. So I'm going to take a lunch break and then I'm going to get back to it. I'm going to get some good words done today, I think. Getting through the chapter, I'm kind of discovering new things as I write about this world. Well, I was like, oh yeah, that would be possible. Oh yeah, that would be possible too. And so it's kind of fun discovering these things, but then once you discover them, you have to go back and change things, because when you started the first chapter, you didn't know about these things, and so certain things don't make sense and blah, blah, blah. I'm gonna try and keep the fixing things to a minimum because I just want to get through the draft. But I'm really trying to get as much written as possible so that for camp, I can finish the first draft. Because I really, even though I know I haven't released Atlas Rising yet, I should probably release that. I really am excited about this new series. And I can't wait to release it. I just have to write it first. The goal is today, finishing this chapter. I'm trying to make my magic system work in this book, and I like to have an element of science, like actual science fiction kind of thing. So I've been researching quantum physics because it seems like that would be the thing that would make my magic system work. I was reading Quantum Physics for Dummies, but unfortunately the way that the book is set up is that it's a lot of math equations, which is fine, but I don't have a background in just regular old physics for me to make sense of what the math equations are. So it's weirdly, normally the Dummies series is really good for me because it just kind of explains things in a way that I can understand. But this one didn't. So I decided to go to YouTube to watch some things, and those definitely clarified that stuff for me. The thing is it's still going to be fiction. I'm not really going to be a quantum physicist in this book and know everything about quantum physics, because the quantum physics in this timeline obviously works differently because, you know, magic exists, you know what I mean? So, and I'm just figuring out a way to scientifically have it make sense. So no, is it accurate in the sense of I'm not a quantum physicist, so I'm sure any actual quantum physicist would be like, because, you know, magic does exist in our world, but you know what I'm saying. That's what I've been doing, is just watching YouTube videos on quantum physics, which is pretty fascinating, by the way. I've always been kind of a science nerd. You know, sometimes certain concepts take me a while to grasp. Like, I'm the kind of person that I won't understand anything until it clicks, and then when it clicks, I get it. But for my story purposes, I feel like I have enough of a grasp of what I needed from it to work in this story. So I think I've done enough research. I'm going to get back to it. I'm going to try and get through chapter 2. It's 5 o'clock. So I've been working all day. But I did finish the chapter. Yay! I really think I can do this. Alright, well, this vlog was chapter 2. So my next writing vlog will hopefully be chapter 3, or maybe even further along. But thank you guys so much for joining me on this journey today. And I will see you in the next one. Bye!